the healthiest signs of societal growth is change. Change in fashion, change toward a more progressive societal mindset, and change in entertainment preference. But no matter how much our world changes, no matter how many new movies or video games or webinars or online tutorials surface, it is comforting to know that reading has been, and will continue to be for the foreseeable future, a reliable constant when it comes to learning, escaping, and unwinding. Moreover, I am further comforted knowing the reason I fell in love with reading as a child remains the main reason my mentees at the Salvation Army Boys and Girls Club have fallen in love with reading as well. Though I loved reading Gordon Corman's Island, Everest, and Dive trilogies, various Babysitter's Club books, and standalone novels such as The Bridge to Terabithia and Because of Winn-Dixie when I was my mentee's age, my favorite stories were incorporated into an anthology of Disney fairy tales. What I loved most about this book of stories was the time I spent reading them with my grandmother and the bond we forged over our mutual love of the plot lines and characters. After reading Sleeping Beauty, my grandma showed me her old spinning wheel, one just like we had read about in my anthology. Reading about and physically seeing the spinning wheel piqued my interest in yarn spinning, knitting, and eventually quilting with her. The connection my grandma and I formed reading the story together has led to an even stronger bond in a shared hobby, and the time we share sewing together is just as sacred as the times I spent sitting in her lap and reading with her as a child. Being a mentor is not always easy. Although my mentees are less than 15 years younger than me, it is difficult to bridge this palpable, albeit small, generational gap. In the time since I was in elementary school, much has changed, and I am certainly not as in tune with new fashion and entertainment icons as they would like me to be. However, this gap lessened when I read the book Descendants with my mentees this past semester. Descendants is basically a modern-day version of the stories I read with my grandmother, a conglomeration of Beauty and the Beast, Sleeping Beauty, Aladdin, 101 Dalmatians, Snow White, Cinderella, Mulan, and others. As we began to read, and I enthusiastically started to make the connections between the characters I once read about and their new, updated counterparts in Descendants, perhaps for the first time, my mentees didn't see me as an authoritative or out-of-touch adult, but simply as a fellow lover of these stories. Even after knowing them 3 years previously, I had not felt a connection as strong with my mentees as I did when we read this book together, nor had I seen them excite so earnestly and easily over a piece of literature. Just as reading my Disney anthology did with my grandmother and me, reading Descendants with my mentees fostered a stronger relationship between us due to a common interest. Reading is important because it has the ability to bring people together, and in this case, reading children's literature specifically brought together people of different ages and backgrounds because of the timelessness of the tales. Although times are continuously progressing, I find solace in the fact that my beloved fairy tales, as well as the act of reading in itself, transcend generations, no matter how much society grows or changes.